Welcome. How is everyone? How's everyone doing?
Yeah, good.
Does anyone want to raise a quiet hand? Sorry, I'm still in teacher mode. And just like share a word or phrase of how you're feeling right now. Yes, thank you.
Ecstatic.
Ecstatic! We love that. Awesome. What's your name?
Shanasa.
Shanasa, we're so glad you're here. Anyone else? Anyone else? Don't be bashful.
Fun.
Fun! You're feeling fun. Yes, absolutely. Anyone else?
Jumbly.
Jumbly. Are you nervous because you're a reader?
No, I'm just weird right now.
Oh, okay. Well, we're so glad you're here with us, and we're very excited to hear you read, and all of our readers read. My name is Kate, and actually this is Kevin, and he's going to do the introduction, so carry on.
I mean, you can take it off. Yeah, I'm Kevin, and this is the living room. Welcome. We are in Syzygy SF. How many people is this your first time coming to Syzygy? Oh, welcome, new friends. So just a quick what is a Syzygy? Is a question you might have, right? I mean, there's definitely the alignment of celestial bodies and all that jazz, but what Syzygy is in this space is an art collective and co-op, which is all about providing space for artists to make art in San Francisco. There's tons of things going on. There's hobby hangs where you could have something like brewing or board games or board game playtesting or knitting or I was about to say another board game thing because I like board games, but everyone doesn't love board games.
There's something for everyone. And actually, Dan made a hilarious joke earlier, and I'm going to steal it, but I credited you. It's Syzygy, sounds kind of like a frat, right? So it's like an art frat. Syzygy.
You just messed up Dan's joke because he was like, Saiga.
Okay, do you want to say it?
But
you did it better.
No, it's too late. You messed it up. Just know that Dan made a hilarious joke.
That's great. You should have been there.
And you should have been there. And Kate just butchered it.
I embellished on it.
Well, embellished the just improvement. But this space with so many things going on. If you like figure drawing, Wednesday sketchboard. If you like intersection of art and technology, maybe with like VR or an AR. You have things like, AV Club or the Bay Area simulation hangs. So yeah, check out the website Syzygy SF. If you have questions, come ask them. Angela's also a member. He's in a hat. You can also ask Angela. Yeah, well, anyways,
we're all excited that you're here. And tonight's theme, I believe, is cruelty. Just like not the happiest theme. Hi, welcome. We're not going to call out every new person, sorry, but we called out you. Hi. So tonight's theme is cruelty, and we have some
norms.
Yeah. So cruelty, I guess, is just it's like the opposite of like norms about cruelty.
Well, we're gonna hear.
Oh, norms about this? No, norms about the reading. I got it. All right. Yes. So there are some norms for the living room reading, and some of them are that we are all here in a space together, experiencing art and holding space and honoring people who are sharing their poetry. So we ask that you are respectful, whatever that looks like to you, and we also we know that poetry can, or I don't know about poetry, but well, yeah, art in general can sometimes bring up emotions that you don't necessarily always feel or want to feel. So if you're at all triggered or feel uncomfortable in any way, please feel free to take a moment outside and do what you need to do mentally. Have a chat with someone. I'm always available for a hug. And just feel your feelings, because what Kevin really and I think you can talk more authentically about the living room since it's your project, but something I appreciate about Kevin, because he's my husband, is that there's a lot of things, there's room for improvement, but something that the living room really, a strength that they embody is he's a safe person, this is a safe space, and this is kind of the idea is as the name implies, we're all here, even though some of us might be strangers, we're here together on cozy couches, sharing our feelings and our thoughts and our narratives. So this is a safe space where everyone should feel comfortable and held. And so please let us know if there's anything we can do to facilitate that.
Yeah. And and with that, we also want to, again, support the writers as much as you can. If you hear something that you dig it,
you can snap
at the end. You can snap during. You can give a little oh.
No, don't do that. That's weird.
Not like that. That was a weird way.
And also you can do that. I didn't mean to police you. Sorry,
I know. Sometimes cruelty can be exciting.
Okay, weird. You're making it
weird.
weird.
All right. I won't make it.
Also,
weird.
I'm a first grade teacher, and what we do sometimes in my classroom.
Okay.
No. This is important. This is relevant. It's when you want to express a strong emotion without being disruptive, you can do a silent celebration. So you can do that. And this also means, I didn't make this up, I think it's sign language, it's a quiet connection, which means, I'm connecting with you. So feel free to use those motions. Thank you. Yeah. That can be a new norm. I like it.
Yeah. Quiet connections. Yeah. You can have a quiet.
This is a respectful difference, by the way. He's I don't agree, but
yeah.
Wow, how interesting. What an interesting perspective. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank all of you for your patience and understanding. Let's get started with some poetry, right? So, a thing that we do is bios and things will be on the website, thelivingroomsf.com with video. So you can see all of that jazz, but we ask a question and the answers are how we introduce everyone. And so, coming up first, Soledad con carne, pronouns they, them, and when asked what is the purpose of cruelty in art, Soledad said, cruelty in art provides a means for the creative to analyze what they perceive as cruelties of the world and provide the medicine that is poetry to aid in healing the collective. Ooh, let's give it up.
Hi. So the cruelty thing, I really didn't know what to do with it. So I kind of just picked some poems where I was just I feel like they were like I said, medicine in response to cruelty that leads to some sort of healing, and they kind of all have to do with well, not all of them, but it's religious trauma, alcoholism, and homophobia. There you go. Okay. How much can I get away with and still get to heaven? Galaxies are born from the sweat off my brow. Nebulas are born from the sweat off my lip. Starlight juxtaposes the darkness of space, hold each other as yin and yang. I collect stars in a wooden box in my closet. Sunbeams mix with the coins in my pocket. Safety pin the fabric of reality together. With a laugh at my efforts, Quetzalcoatl says, what existence isn't peculiar? A Fibonacci number can predict the stripes of the tiger, so how do you balance the sin from the sinner? Blessings from a heretic, when a good deed is for the man, not the reward, when a loving hand is for the collective, not the mercy of the soul. I wonder about my gluttony and my greed, as I feed from my hoard of dead poets on dead pages. My sloth, a depressive days, buried in filth and regretful days. With lust, is it too much to have a memory jerk me off? The envy that shines from a crocodile smile, pride behind an alcoholic's denial, wrath at a supremacist system that guns some kids down, locks the others in cages. My soul is not at his mercy. If heaven is a paradise above the stars, then purgatory is the depths of space. Is it so bad to want to exist in a moonbeam for eternity? If I exist as a constellation, are my sins sketched out in the starlight with me? Santa Muerte takes me down interplanetary paths, guides me through interstellar lands, sets out a blanket for my place between Gemini and Lynx, and kisses me goodbye on both cheeks. Thank you. Thanks. But yeah, see, I hope people can like read between the lines and be like, yeah, cruelty, that was totally there. Okay, for the little brown kids that got called Dora because of their bowl cuts. Bangs cut straight, connect one temple to the other. Upside down bowl spills a baby galaxy of thought that grows from the atoms of the first twinkle twinkle star. A crown of dandelions and pipe cleaners, a super suit made from thrift stores and hand-me-downs. Bare feet run over the blacktop, through mud puddles, ring around, the dumpster divers, over to the Boletta men's creaking cart, to the book mobile and back. Stop at the man who runs a little market out of his house, buy some pelon pelo ricos with $1 from abuelito. Celebrate the candy with a squeal, celebrate a birthday with a piñata, celebrate a baptism with familia, celebrate the first day of school with that first sip of Corona. Baby's first blackout, baby's first bar fight, baby's first DUI, baby's first cry out to Creator. Please help me change, please make it all right, please don't let me drink tonight. Pre-K to the school to prison pipeline. Pre-K to 5 to 10 stint in La Pinta. Pre-K to court mandated AA. Pre-K to stumbling out of liquor stores anyways. And you stumble back into morning cartoons and Ninja Turtle pajamas. You're rolling down a hill while I swing up to the moon. We carry potions and create recipes for eternal youth. Where did time go as we spin in circles, fall into a kneel, and scrape knees on sidewalk murals? Wait for time to come kiss your wounds, eat your tears, and assure you, you don't gotta know nothing. Thank you. Okay, this is my last one. Self-portrait of an exhausted faggot. Hey, sometimes I miss the closet, closed off in that singular space, where lavish coats and serapas kept me warm in an embrace. Maybe safety was ensured, but I was wasting away. Hey, mentally I was losing myself, trying to fit into this tiny place that kept shrinking as I grew out of Winnie the Pooh overalls into a vest with punk patches and shaved the ponytails off the top of my head. Peeking through the crack in the door, where freedom tempted me every day. Hey, the day I broke out of this tomb, a rush of tears baptized me, and I was ready for my second coming. But I don't know if anybody told them. Hey, I don't know if anyone told them that I broke out friendly free. Hey, I don't know if anyone told them, but no fags allowed is sprayed all over my city. Hey, sometimes I shrink and hold myself and miss the embrace the closet granted me. Hey, how much is freedom really gonna cost me? What's the price of safety and stability? Strength is mandatory. I never got to choose, in or out yet. Hey, strength is only consistency. The strength to fit every day, holding onto the mold, slowly chipping and cracking, or the strength to let it go, let it break into the pieces that built a better foundation for me. A foundation that let me stand up, yell, scream, hey, I'm free, I'm here, I'm me, I'm allowed to be here because I'm free. Hey, being Chicanx and queer is a series of explanations, all in repetition. Being true to yourself is hard when both sides of the border say to despise everything that you are. Hey, I'm brown like you, but you're not down like me. I'm the warrior shedding blood for you, and you're another Malinche, offering me as your sacrifice. Hey, is that the world rambling around me, or do I just got the shakes? I, who am exhausted from being seen, I, who am exhausted from explaining myself. How often do I have to explain myself? Hey, how can anyone see me when I don't want to be seen, yet I have an audience sometimes when I'm screaming? Being queer in secrecy is a padlock. Being out and proud is a spotlight. I'm stuck in a timeline where I constantly have to prove I should exist. How many times do I have to fucking explain myself? I am allowed to be here. I allow myself to be here. Hey, they fucks my stigmata wounds with their dick. He licks the stigmata wounds at my feet. I am all of them and they are me. I allow myself to love here. Hey, I'm just me. Thank you.
That was so good. Thank you for being so honest and for being here. And also, this is not the most important thing about you, but I do love your overalls.
Thank you.
Next up, we have our friend. Sorry, give me a second. Oh, Dan like Ann. Literally in the notes it says Dan like Ann. I'm sorry, what else would Dan rhyme with? Okay. Oh, and Lau slant rhymes with owl. Thank you, Kevin. Am I saying it right? Dan Lau?
Dan Lau.
Okay, Dan Lau. He, they. And when asked what is the purpose of cruelty in art, Dan said that is a big question and I can't provide RN right now. Which I appreciate because that is a big question, and also he already gave us the syzygy frat joke that I butchered earlier, so what more do you want from him? Friends, let's give it up for Dan! Woo!
Hi, new friends. Hey. It's a big fucking question, right? Ooh, sorry. It's a hot mic. That's good. It's just like right here.
Eat it.
You don't want me to eat it, because I'm loud. I'm a loud bitch. Framing around the questions of cruelty, I was just like, oh shit, there's a theme. And then I had to figure out which poems I was gonna read. But I feel like I found them, you know? So this is called Reader as Fugue, and feel free to like Savion Glover me on the way, like off the stage. Because I talk a lot, I read, I take my time, so I'm respectful too. So just, Dan, get the fuck off. This one is called Reader as Fugue. Only through forcing can we understand sound. Moving through constriction, can we attempt to study the fluid. Air, the loose collection, molecules folding over each other like sand or gumballs, running past the thin membrane grass provides. The repurposing is a music like the way children play. In fall leaves, their lines fashioning an aria, a symphony in C, how they cleave through a field to the foot of a maple, just to rip the wings from the Samara clean off, to peel apart what's present and find in their hands a new thing, to see the process as creative, the infinite restructuring, the method of finding and refinding the violence of a thud peeled into a machine. And so they smack the shell of a decaying log in order to find a drum, knowing to make something beautiful, you must cleave it or beat it into shape. So this is from, I was just like, it's so loud. Yeah, I was talking to Muriel, I was like, what the fuck am I gonna choose? And she was just like, your MFA manuscript, because it was horrible. Like the MFA, it was like, I was in Boise, Idaho, and it was rough. And so, with great pain, right? This one's called Etude. Today I slip into my father's shirt. This red, this second skin, such a fit against my shoulders, such wear between the seams. I gather myself to greet him. In the mirror, my face draped over his stubble creeping through the sheet laid over my bones, like a tent or the bony figure chairs make during renovation. I'm under construction. The painter's tape has been laid across the edges of my wainscoting, my molding growing gilt by the day as the trees throw confetti on my birthday morning. I stand silent in front of him as he appraises me in the same way he says, I love you, in the same way he says, you're wrong. I'm a short and sweet type of girl. So the next three poems, and I promise there will only be three, are based in my new collection, and I was thinking about cruelty, like the concept of cruelty, and understanding that like it doesn't necessarily need to be intentional. It doesn't necessarily need to be completely aware of how we are experiencing things, and so with that little framework, I started thinking about how my current project is fitting within that particular schema. And it's about, it follows my grandfather through his passage and immigration through Hawaii. And he worked in the plantations, in the pineapple plantations, and then found his way into the States, the continent, right, as I say. And so thinking about your participation in this particular economy and how we behave and what we do to move forward while setting other folks back. And the process and project is also trying to comprehend how we move forward, because we're all here now, right? So with that in mind, you know, pineapples, grandfather, I have the next three, they're untitled. So when I do this, that means it's over. Okay. This morning we drive past a field of spines, bristling from crimson clay, the earth so red like an open wound, a bleeding boar's hairbrush, sequestered from the road by a guardrail. The north side lidded by a stretch of sky, violet rays clap through the crowns, bracts, and fruiting bodies to warm the ground. The suckers sprouting off the axles, a garden of serrated blades. Perhaps blood is what has made an iron-rich loam. Perhaps sweat and the spray of other salts have amended the soil. Or maybe it is the memory of care and the presence of men that coax these heavy buds, their hands tilling and shaping an industry standard. How do we reconcile the spoils of these little worlds? The long arm of the god foliar spray, the god of the automatic harvester, microcosms of orbiting life around an impermanent sun, a simulacra of thriving, turgid biomes of fruiting bodies embalmed in syrup, spoils, thousands of semi-rotting enclosures, the bodhisattva of the sorting conveyor lifts each reluctant pledge. The saint of the extractor shows each promise a mercy. The belt, the mixing tank, the fiber unfold unto themselves, rendered and ripped, broken and decanted, an empire of evaporators, an empire of sterilization, an empire of neutered flesh, an empire despined, a single rancid yellow. I open my mouth and I kiss this soil, the only land I know, the only land I'm tied to. Here, a body can move through it like water, like silk, so long as a skein goes in the right direction. Today, I can kiss a man in public and never ask for his name. Tomorrow, I can build a dream of thorns and fold my body like a napkin for you. These freedoms, dispensations that season my movement, remnants of the access they'd bought at a raffle you were never invited to. A purchase, an exchange, a promise I imagine you made to yourself, and a promise you've made to us when you worked their land and studied their language and fought their wars and smoked each day, that today and every day after, we choose how this nation will devour us. Thank you.
No. Every day we do choose how this nation will devour us. Thank you. Let's give it one more time. Yes. I dig it and dig those poems. And also, I feel like I want a thing that's like, this poem is over. I like that. And I've seen the like step back, and I've seen the like lower. I feel like I should live out a childhood like dream, and I could be like, oh, like this is morphin time. Like I can really do that without saying like this poem's over. Like yeah, no, I love that too, but I can't take it. I wouldn't just take Dan's thing.
Dan, do you want to share it?
I'd probably. Oh, maybe I could. Okay.
It's for grabs.
It's up for grabs. That was some pretty effective mediation. We got another pro coming up. J. Brandon Loberg. Whoop, whoop. And when asked what is the purpose of cruelty in art, Brandon said, the purpose of cruelty in art to sneeringly remind us that mankind perceives reality through the march of inexorable suffering and eventual death. If you listen carefully, you can almost hear the rottenness of God's laughter as we heave against our chains. Ooh, let's give it up for Brandon Loberg.
Did you know you can use a tampon to plug a bullet wound? You can't. Well, technically you can, but you really shouldn't. I have that on good authority. No matter what conventional wisdom it might seem that something designed to stanch your heavy flow might also prevent you from bleeding out, you'd nonetheless be wrong. Are we just too familiar with reaching for the simplest things, anything that might fill the holes that open in all the wrong places, the voids whose edges defy similes of round pegs and square? Nothing real adheres to such symmetry. Smoke and liquor, for instance, seem to fill the interstices with a burn that makes believe it might cauterize your raw and ragged edges where the bullet entered, where your heart seemed to exit. Again, you'd be just as wrong as I am. And I often ponder the inanity in writing these ridiculous poems, shoveling blood and bones and mostly time into this sinkhole I know that I'll never fill. But maybe should you show up with a wound, roughly the shape of these pages, one of them someday might fit. Not where you expected that to go, was it? You're wound tight, a brittle twist of carbon fraught conduit for all this. None save you might question the hardness of your composition, but wrapped in this exquisite shape, you crackle, spark, and glow. Neither could anyone blame you if sometimes you scream while you burn. The principle of incandescence being to carry this charge to the brink of your bearing, sprinting toward the draper point and a searing arc across the filament. To be caught in the electric rush, the overwhelm, is to know you're still alive. This mortal coil you wear so well, a dark material throwing light into the void. Silently the lightning crashes across the desert between my ears, all pinball glow and petering out between the folds of foregathered clouds, what long ago people called the firmament, swearing that any moment now, or was it then, the earth might shudder and the thunder roar, and from this divine retching might cough up a Jesus, if only to prove to their smug self-satisfaction that they were right, that the end was nigh, and theirs would be the last days of the earth. Every day people tell me the world is burning. They wear different faces and bear different sorts of crosses, but the sentiment is nonetheless the same. But if, let's suppose, they were right all along, and the world indeed is on fire, it's been at it for a long, long time. A protracted blaze, a heap of burning tires, and God is drunk, and his shaggy dog story has gone on so interminably, even the devil wants nothing to do with the details. What is so captivating about waiting up for the end of the world? That's becoming, those two last pieces are kind of part of a cycle I've been working on that uses a lot of light and shadow imagery, so I'll apologize for that in advance. Between the light of the world and shade, the nameless dread skulking in his periphery looms the figure of man himself. Perhaps the shadow on our intent, or this body I possess so awkwardly, and so upon the world a dark patch falls whenever I step into the light. A dark patch fell upon Diogenes, somewhat the shape of Alexander, and peering upward from his barrel, that should have been his first clue. That never would his lanterns glow countenance an honest man, at least not while the sun hangs high, and his shadow he keeps hid beneath his sandals. But in the hour's sundial ceased to reckon, the shape wherein, all stretched and misshapen, he'd do well to find himself a tavern. Everyone's behaving like dogs, feral and braying in the din, and in the dimness, indiscretions seem indiscreet from our intentions. Diogenes would find himself quite well enough at home, and find the dark discloses all his lantern failed to reveal. I asked my mother once why all the dive bars had no windows. She said to hide from prying eyes the things men do in the dark. We are not who we are in the sunshine, nor in the harshness of the stage lights, especially me. I admit I lose sight of my blind spots as we stack up the empties. Sodden we are, precious, and I cast myself the worst person in the room. So when the lights come up at last call and the sun comes up as ever, you'll find me there, standing in your light. You can believe whatever you want, but I was told a story once about Cabeza de Vaca, the Spanish explorer. When he was in Florida, perhaps it was Galveston, the food had run out and facing starvation, he ordered his men to boil leather, then canvas, to eat wood, and then finally gunpowder. The story, I'll wager, is certainly bullshit. And yet it continues that while journeying onward, a peculiar thing happened. One after another, their tropics tanned faces turned a pale shade of blue, and each fell where he stood and expired. See, constituent in gunpowder is potassium nitrate, and between it and oxygen, the body can't differentiate. So despite taking deep gulps of air, you asphyxiate. The same can be said of believing in nonsense, feeling sated on things which are not meant for eating. And while there is truth to be found, yes, in fiction, to put fact and opinion upon equal footing is to move through the world with a head full of stuff worse than nothing. Thank you.
So I'm pretty sure that this brings us to our intermission.
Oh yeah, we still got two in pose, but
Oh.
there's, but no,
Never mind.
no, we are gonna do, but there's also an intermission. Well, you gotta say it in a fun way. So,
Okay, there's an intermission.
yeah, you know.
And the intermission is a chance for us to get to know each other. So I think the question, like the prompt, is to discuss with a friend or a new friend next to you what cruelty means in your life, or what it means to you.
The purpose of cruelty in art? What is the purpose
in
of
art,
cruelty
yes.
in art?
Yes. And if you don't want to talk about that because it's kind of weird with a new friend,
Okay.
just say hi, just introduce yourself.
Okay, all right. So the idea is to talk to someone who you do not know, meet a new friend,
New friends.
new friend, and talk about art and cruelty.
Yeah.
And we're gonna reconvene.
And what it means to you, what it
Yeah,
means in your life.
Yes.
One of my students today said to me, "Are you wearing that on purpose?" And I think that's cruelty. So, yeah.
Elizeya Quate, what? Pronouncing him. And I believe there were some books perhaps that are present. When asked what is the purpose of cruelty in art? Cruelty must puncture our expectations of comfort, the comfort that allows us to consume and perpetuate mediocrity. Let's give it up. Elizeya Quate.
Good night. Good evening. I just want to say thanks to Kevin for organizing this, and the living room thing is this really new special thing, and feel honored to be asked to participate, and it's great, just like the other readers were so freaking awesome. When Kevin told me about the theme of cruelty, I kind of said, that's a head scratcher. So I got a couple poems for you. What's real is feeling opposite. None of this is real. I am a bus station. You are a pair of enormous sunglasses. I am a motel lobby. You are a road sign, warning of mudslides. I am a steering wheel. You are a Bible Belt radio station. I am an empty intersection. You are the horizon of I-80, flushing scarlet with tomorrow's dawn. This poem's called Obvious Concealments. I wrote it when I noticed that people were doing this consistent behavior pattern where they wanted people to see that they were hiding something. And I thought that that was such a funny gesture. Obvious concealment. Sometimes I want to conceal that sweet lemon glimpse of last summer's moon inside this poem. That's not what I'm trying to do here. At least I'm not trying very hard. Obvious concealments aren't really concealments, I think, because they only draw attention to what we're not supposed to wish was even there. This poem is called Heat Poem, Moody Abaid. What you once gave to me was the feeling for a certain time of day, right before dawn, when our fevers clung together, laying in a dirty bed, our eyes would open, suddenly aflame against the darkness. Then, staring up, our breath would hold and rush in bouts of careful symmetry, as we wondered if the other wondered if the other was really even there. I was thinking about cruelty a little bit in a more serious way, and I think that I've heard a lot of people who I have deep respect for talk powerfully about the redemptive or healing qualities of art. And I think that art, when it can be that for someone, is fucking amazing, because it can be a thing that someone needs at the exact moment that they need it in a way that nothing else can. And I remember reading this book called The Art of Cruelty by Maggie Nelson, which is this meditation on the role of cruelty in art. And She is a fan of transgressive art that is intentionally, gratuitously violent or draws attention to its excess or waste or strangeness. And I must confess that although I have so much respect and support for the people who are able to find redemption and healing in art, I also believe fundamentally that there is art that is not redemptive, that is not productive, that is not meant to work for me or for you or for anyone else, art that is excessive, grotesque, art that is macabre, art that is devastating. And in its devastation, it accomplishes what some people find as a moment of revolutionary hope, which can only be found in the death of all things that belong to this current world. And so I'm going to read this final poem called Love Song for the Death of This Ticky-Tack World. Before becoming the result of too many people with no time left for eternity between these knob-knuckled hands of overcrowded solitaire, and before the night comes to turn over the cards, my guilt-soaked fingerprints burn off. Once I heard your laugh, I wanted to get married right away. I wanted to marry your laughter. I wanted to ask your laugh to officiate a wedding ceremony between me and your laughter, because once I heard your laugh, I knew it was the kind of laugh that will never become a ghost. We went on vacation, and on vacation we met two modern histories wearing flip-flops and half-buttoned Hawaiian shirts. Even the past needs a day off sometimes. Even the good old days ask for a bathroom break. Onions on a hot griddle, wads of dead cash, filling up the men's eyes, wads of what I'm supposed to want saying about wads of dead cash, between the grease heaps of griddled up onions. In the closet, the bar, we transform into levitating tufts of hair, a twin moo, both red and cracked like glass beads. The tacked up Polaroid photos are all of people in shabby costumes, joyously hamming it up. People with their special ritual, and we will still be burning leaves, leaving other burnings, burning leaves in the autumn, bereavements of other ashes for other earnings. I guess you could say that when I was young, I fell in love with the death of this ticky-tack world of uncertain stasis. I yearned for the next world, a world of endless ends and endless turnings. I guess you could say that when I was young, I fell in love with the death of this ticky-tack world, and when I met you and I met your laugh, it was like a fire that began burning all my old dead worlds away. Thank you.
Let's give it up one more time. Even the good old days need a bathroom break. They just needed it. It's true. And thank you for, that Maggie Nelson book, which I also love, which you recommended to me. Thank you. Art has many purposes, you know. All right, one more poet, y'all. Oh wait, you're here.
Hi. I went to the bathroom and then I started cleaning it a little bit because it was not up to my standards. But that's neither here nor there. Our next poet is Arisa, who I talked to at our intermission, and she had a lot of amazing things to say. So I can only imagine that her poetry will be similarly astute. When asked what is the purpose of cruelty in art, she said to create a field of tension where we reflect on the spectrum of human action, our destructive, generative nature that catalyzes our transformation. Wow. Also, you should check out Arisa's book, Who's Your Daddy? And the Fog Lifter anthology she co-edited called Home is Where You Queer Your Heart. And Arisa recommends Maya Jeffra's American Gospel and MJ Jones. Wait, we'll talk about that. Anyways, MJ Jones's Hood Vacations. So let's give a giant round of applause and maybe even some woos for Arisa. love language, so.
Thanks. Okay, I got five poems of cruelty, I guess. Be my witness. Last time a lighter was thrown, it burned your face by 2 degrees. This time you're hit in the head. Pray for signs that don't abuse. You're waiting for the day you don't ruin, not the one who said she saw you in a dream. All those pedestals bring out masochistic you. Folsom street fair with your testicles in a bind. Whip, then whisper to while the lash settles. You're pleasured by that butterfly hitting the skylight. The keeper says, "Why do you do this?" You keep your reply because it's in your nature. Now, this animal poetic longing for gentleness, for care to let you emerge from your gold, to be touched by beauty and injured. This is what you get. I push and pull my sacrifice toward you. A whole grown woman in her army knife, an unregenerate liver, a lake fire rippling mid-back, a knuckle too stubborn to take off a promise. You're welcome to check for a pulse and tally my demerits. I'm giving every best effort since words don't mean shit. These spasms singing grace in my lumbar. I have survived the supermarket today, all from macaroni salad and crab meat and a ½ pound of fiddleheads. I am alive to bring you my hot heart and its juicy liberation, reacting to the sudden foreseeable air. This is love, culpable at your address. This is sacred, the anchor, waterless and without vessel, useless to use, illogically here and precisely as we are. She rises and falls above the body, embedded with a quote from the mermaid and the minotaur, quoting from Life Against Death. She who prefers a dead life to living insults you as shorthand to communicate her envy, calls you jerk when she means I'm unable to advocate for myself. Women over 40 are more likely to get their gallbladders removed. The anger comes bile when told I'm an asshole because she's committed to treating as excrement not only her own body, but the surrounding world of objects. State fostered to be adoring and likable for selection, and her pile of seething is not a mitochondria mirrored back. Who's never turned to look at what they've left behind, and I'm like my mother, the narcissist, yet she reduces all to dead matter in inorganic magnitudes when her own questions don't get direct answers. And what is true of all things is true also of modes of language and thought categories of time. She is all trees dressed down to their 11s, branches bearing skid marks of heaven. Succulent. Succulent. I never wanted to be a hostage of my own mind, a forgotten filament in your switch and no electricity to strike. Again, abandonment and not enough destiny, right lane on the freeway because faster never opened me to my God. Whoever admires me from a distance say I'm wow and wavy. Up close, I'm depressed and succulent. Could there be anything only than your sunshine to rescue the record from scratch? I'm not even asking for love. I accepted there's nothing we give without expectation of return or license to live. It's ever clear the we of our relating. I don't fit your circus. My request for a hug I can't articulate will be deficient. My body major in a breeze past flat and gritty. Be it hell or high as a motherfucker, our legal binding can disappear in supreme robes. Every day now, I'm no better version than myself. And that's the last one. I bank on love, she manumits. Our problem is we can't see ourselves on the same team. I have incredulously high standards, but however you look at it, I'm essentially her slave. I'm at my worst when I transmute myself into the shape of everyone's void. We don't look at it, and the chip took over the windshield in a web. Each crack led to removal. We talk self-esteem, assume it's invulnerably high, and no one is lowering the sky. Analogies have been absurd when it comes to my suffering. All her complaints are from the Department of Black Stereotypes. This is the secret. The language requires me as sugar honey to her human julep. It's refreshing to be free of denouement when there is no self to recover or body to bury back. If I ever thought my consent was inalienable, there are rings and chains to illustrate the homophonics of ownership. It is not by choice we are here. We arrived at the same time, and that time is historical. I'm trapped in the film that cues in the eyes of those who behold us a graphic imaginary so white it blinds. In any case, what becomes instructed is I'm the nigger and she's the lover while sitting in our living room. While walking down the street, she releases my hand when a policeman approaches and I'm fugitive and forfeited. I belong to a flying people, no earth to carry me down. With so many planets in her 8th house, my social death is a bite of a strange plum. Fleshy and gardenia, we make it our symbol. Because the joke is, I stole her purse, and the crowd is coming to her assistance and coming for my punishment. In those mitotic seconds, I'm a trusted spectacle of cheap intimacy in a world with incomplete sunshine. Thank you.
Fantastic. Keep it going for Arisa. Ooh. Definitely some cruelty in there. Ooh. I know, I'm like, let me get my foot in. Oh no, fantastic work. Thank you to all of our poets. Let's give it up one more time. And let's give it up for all of you for being here. Next month, May 26th, the theme is travel. It's gonna be fun.
A little lighter.
But yeah, you know, you go hard, you go light, you know. There are
The Bud Lights, they're in the fridge.
Yeah, there's that.
And also,
there's a survey, if you so desire,
How many QR codes are there?
there are a lot of QR codes. Bit.ly lets you make them so easily now, and it's so and it's, and I was just like, oh,
there are 8.
there are 8 QR codes that are visible, but if you search for more, you could find them. Yeah, you can go to bit.ly/TLR survey or scan the QR code if you so desire.
Also, no pressure.
That's what I said. If you so desire, that's what that implies. No pressure. Isn't it right? I was talking about this. But no, we'll see you all again soon. And play some music. Feel free to chill. Talk to the poets. Does anyone have any books with them? Do you have any books, Arisa, with you? No. Do you have some books? Jade has some books.
Yeah.
Just saying.
If you're in the book buying mood.
If you're in a book buying mood and you're just like, I must leave with a book of poetry. It must happen. I've been too moved. I've been so moved that I just have to do it. Just saying.
No, but you have an accent in this hypothetical situation. We really appreciate you all being here, and we hope that you all stick around for a little bit to just chat and hang out. And yeah, love to everybody.
Yeah. We can also go to Flying Pig. There's food and drinks.
There are.
Flying Pig? Yeah. Let's
wrap
get
it
it.
up. All right. Woo! Thanks for being here.